Good morning, y'all. It is Monday, the 29th of April, 2024. I hope y'all had a good weekend. I did. Corey and I went out of town Saturday and Sunday, came back yesterday. And so, yeah, I hate to come back to work. Enjoyed the weekend. We went up to Put-in Bay on Lake Erie. It was a good time. So, but it's Monday. Back to business, back to work, back to normal things. And hope you were in church yesterday. We did get back in time to go to church last night, and praise the Lord. Because at church last night, we had some folks get baptized. We had a whole family end up getting saved at our church over the last 6 months. It was the the husband, uh, Greg Jolliffe. He accepted Christ. Then his wife and his youngest son accepted Christ, and his oldest son accepted Christ. So praise the Lord for that. And they came forward to get baptized last night, and so I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful they're a part of our church now, and thankful God allowing me to have a part in that process. I led Gregory, the son, junior, to Christ in Sunday school or after Sunday school on a Sunday morning. So just praise the Lord for that. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to reach somebody for Christ. I pray that you use that opportunity wisely and that you don't falter with it, like you don't put it off. You have an opportunity. You always have an opportunity to spread the gospel. But it's a special opportunity when it comes to somebody that's ripe and ready for the plucking to come to Christ. So, all right, we're gonna quickly wrap up First Corinthians chapter 8. And last week we talked about gods, lords, and idols. We'll talk maybe tomorrow about the whole or gods. There's many gods out there, but today just want to wrap up this portion and let's talk about eating something that was offered up to idols. And in this case, Paul's talking about the Corinthians would buy stuff from the meat market that was originally part of that meat was used for an idol worship to offer as a sacrifice to an idol. And Paul was just kind of clarifying, if you're not using it to eat because you're offering it to an idol, even though part of that meat was used already for idol sacrifice, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as that's not what you're doing. But if somebody comes to you and offers you a plate and says, we're offering this up as a sacrifice to Zeus, eat, then that's a problem. But if you're just buying it and you're using it for your own purpose and you're going to eat it, hey, more power to you. So do that. It's okay, but it's your own conscience. And that's where the rest of this chapter gets to. It's about your own conscience sake. Well, let's look at, we'll jump into verse 8. For meat commendeth us not to God, for neither if we eat, or are ye the better, neither if we eat not, are ye the worse. So if you're eating something and you're not eating it up to that it was offered to some idol, and you're not eating it as an offering to an idol, then it's neither. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just food. Just eat it. But, verse 9, but take heed lest any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. For if any man see thee which hast knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? Let's read this, and I'm going to give you some examples of something I just read in Dr. Ruckman's notes, and I'll apply some personal things here. And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Christ died. But when ye sin so against the brethren, and would wound their weak conscience, ye sinned against Christ. Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh, while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. All right. So, Paul, what is he talking about here? It's kind of odd thing. He's saying, for example, and I can personally attest to this, if you're going out with, and I'm using this from Dr. Ruckman's notes and his commentary on First Corinthians, if you're going out to dinner on Friday night and you got a Catholic friend that you're trying to win to Christ, and this is during Lent, their time where they don't eat anything but fish, They don't eat meat like steaks or burgers or anything like that. They only eat fish during Lent. And you come along and you're like, I'm not going to do that. And then you decide to eat a big old fat hamburger, you might offend your friend. Or you might cause your friend's conscience to be harmed. He is thinking it's not good to eat meat, so I'm not going to eat meat, but now you come along and you're going to eat a hamburger in front of me, man, that looks really good. So what Dr. Ruckman is talking about in this situation, use your brain, eat the fish. Now, me personally, as being former Catholic, and I was only Catholic a short time in hindsight, but I learned a lot about the Catholic Church. During Lent, you know what I like to do? I like to eat a big hamburger, a big steak. I like to eat meat. I don't like to eat fish during Lent. And I do that to thumb my nose up at the Catholic Church for forcing me, basically telling me that I had to eat fish. I couldn't eat meat during Lent. But flip side of that, I don't want to offend my friend. I'm trying to win him to Christ. So I eat fish. Likewise, if you have a Jewish friend that you're going to have to dinner with and you're trying to lead him to Christ and he is doing something kosher, the last thing you should be doing is eating a big pork chop or a big plate of spare ribs in front of him. Why? Because that offends him. Remember what Paul said, to the Jew I become a Jew, to the Gentile I become a Gentile. He says that I become all things to all men, that by all means I might save some. When it comes to things like this, you got to use your brain. Use the common sense that God gave you. Don't do anything that's going to offend your brother or cause them to stumble. Another case in point. It's getting hard to find a restaurant to go to that doesn't have a bar in it. Texas Roadhouse, Outback, I think they're closed down now, so you can use that. Red Lobster. All these restaurants now serve alcohol and bars and big bars in them. My goodness, we went up to Put-in-Bay over the weekend. Every restaurant had a bar in it. Every single one of them. You couldn't get away from it. But for me, I can go in there and eat dinner and I can come out. I'm not drinking any alcohol. But somebody seeing you come out of there, they may think, what is he doing there? Better yet, if you have a friend that's an alcoholic and he's no longer drinking, the last thing you want to do is take them out to dinner in a place where they serve a lot of alcohol. Why? Because that could tempt your brother and cause him to stumble. So we have to be careful. We are living a testimony. We're a living epistle. We should do things that are pleasing to God. Whether it's whatever we do, we should be pleasing to God, and we should be very careful not to do something that's going to lead a weaker brother to sin, to stumble. That's the context of the ending of 1 Corinthians chapter 8. We have to be very careful in our walk with Christ, especially with dealing with weaker people. This makes sense to y'all? I hope you have a good day today. God bless y'all. Happy Monday. And talk to you tomorrow.